Episode 24 of Constel English. This is your host, Menchi Pascual. Do you remember what you learned in the previous episode? Remember the two scenarios presented to you showing how a teacher viewed writing? Let us recall briefly what those two classroom scenarios were about. In the first scene, the teacher seemed more concerned with the end result of the writing activity rather than the means to achieve it. What do you call this approach to writing? Yes, product. In the second scene, unlike the first one, the teacher saw to it that students had to undergo several stages of the writing process before they could produce a piece of writing. What approach to writing is this? Right. Process approach to writing. The two scenarios viewed writing as product, which is linear, and process, which is recursive. Let us take up the features of the process approach. This approach sees writing as non-linear, which means that the steps need not be followed in the same sequence. Recursive, which means that it is repetitive, and generative, which means it involves several steps or stages. The following diagram illustrates the flexible and recursive nature of the writing process. What have you observed about the first three stages? Why are they within the small circles? And look at the arrows. What do they suggest? The circles and the arrows suggest the flexibility and recursiveness of the writing process. As you can see, the last stage is located outside the three circles, but is still within the big circle along with the rest of the stages. Based on what we have discussed, what then is the process approach to writing? I'll give you the answer to this when we return. Please stand by. Welcome back. A process approach to writing sees writing as a nonlinear, recursive, and generative process that involves several steps or stages, starting first with pre-writing, where ideas are generated via various resources or methods. Drafting to discover what one wants to say. Revising and proofreading, getting feedback from various readers between revisions, writing again, and finally, publishing and presenting the output. Now, will you tell me again the four basic steps or stages in the process approach to writing? They are pre-writing, drafting, revising, and proofreading, and publishing and presenting. We are now ready to take up the first stage in process writing, pre-writing. What does pre mean? Pre means before. And what does pre-writing mean? Let me take you to a class where a teacher conducts a pre-writing activity.
Class, did you enjoy the field trip that we had last Saturday?
Yes, ma'am.
Why, Maya?
Ma'am, I wish we had gone to other places of interest outside of Manila.
And what do you mean by that, Maya?
Well, ma'am, my classmates and I were thinking of going to Dr. Jose Rizal's place in Calamba, Laguna.
That would have been wonderful, but we just didn't have the time. That would call for a second field trip. Anyway, we will keep your suggestion in mind. I'm happy to note that Maya here mentioned the name Rizal. Everyone here knows that he is our national hero.
Yes, ma'am.
Today, we shall take up a topic that is related to the word hero. What are the things that come into your mind when you first hear the word hero? I would like each of you to get a piece of paper and a pen, and then write as many words and phrases as you can which you normally associate with the word hero. Okay? Remember, class, you have to do this by yourself, no copying, and do not share your items with anyone. Okay? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
You may start now.
What did the teacher ask the students to do? Apparently, she made them brainstorm on the stimulus word hero, individually or interpersonally. How did she do this? Let's go back to these scenes. She did the following. First, she asked the class to focus on the stimulus word, hero. Then, she asked them to write down as many words and phrases as possible which they could associate with the stimulus word. Finally, she asked them to hold on to their lists. What then is brainstorming? Brainstorming means to search the brain for ideas. When we ask our students to brainstorm, we can tell them to, 1, write down their ideas very quickly. You may even tell them that these ideas don't have to be written in English. Number 2, tell them not to worry about how useful their ideas will be. Number 3, neither should they worry about grammaticality, organization of ideas, and punctuation marks. 4, tell them not to worry about neatness and correctness. Take a look at this sample preparation by a student who tries to map out his future plans. Crew member, McDo or Jollibee, in school in the AM, can work afternoon, no problem. Mother like this idea, can give brother, sister additional baon. Tatay will be happy too, I am sure. I can take evening shift also, but not very late. Homework, so much to do. Did you notice the telegraphic thoughts written down? The writer wasn't careful about any other thing except for the ideas he wanted to include in his composition. Take a look at these sample stimuli, which can make your students prepare for writing. Tell them to write down as many ideas as possible about any of them. Be sure to remind the students to keep their notes for use in drafting their compositions later. These are only a few of the many stimuli which our students can brainstorm on. When students brainstorm individually, they are actually speed writing. Speed writing is a warm-up activity which can get our students to write freely. There are other important points which our students have to bear in mind when they do speed writing, and these are the following. 1, they have to give themselves a time limit, say 2 times. 2, they have to write as much as they possibly can on a given topic. 3, they can write whatever comes into their minds. It doesn't matter if the ideas don't make sense. 4, make them write until the time is up. 5, tell them not to worry about correctness and neatness. Take a look at this sample letter segment written to a teacher about a child's problem. Observe the